Retain gang, what's poppin', man? This your boy Tay, back at y'all again with another video. Peace, love, and abundance. I appreciate y'all for watching. If you want to support the channel, I'll leave all my links in my description. Make sure y'all check out the Retain Gang community. We do live weekly calls. It's a great space for you. We have great conversations. We learn, we build, we grow with each other. So tap in, man. But I got a question from a guy, and he wants to know about how semen retention and Kundalini, how do they work together? You know, how does semen retention spark a Kundalini awakening? All right, so I thought that was a great question, man. We're gonna jump right into this one. Now, first you gotta understand that semen retention, or your sexual energy, is just one aspect of the creative force, okay? Your Kundalini is the cosmic energy, the cosmic creation manifested inside of you, right? Which is the Most High signature. That's how we're all connected to God, through our Kundalini, the cosmic energy. You feel me? So there's many other ways you can have a Kundalini awakening, but for the sake of this video, we're gonna talk about SR, your sexual energy. Now, when you retain your energy, retain your seed, you know, you're not really being active out there, what'll happen is that energy starts to build up inside of you so much to where now it has to go somewhere. Okay, remember, energy can either be created or destroyed, and it can't be suppressed. It has to move around, it has to create, it has to get things done. All right, so eventually you disciplining yourself long enough, it's going to be the key to unlock that Kundalini inside of you, which is at the base of your spine. It's the divine feminine energy. Okay? Now, if you look at this symbol right here, right? You see you got the staff with the two serpents rising up the staff. And then at the top you have wings spread out with what looks like a pine cone, which is symbolic for the pineal gland, which is a pine cone shaped gland. And then you have the crown at the top. Now I want y'all to remember that symbol, right? Because the serpent is the sexual energy, or the Kundalini. Okay? And then some people have mixed feelings about the serpent, right? Some people say it's evil. It represents the devil. It represents temptation and all these things, chaos, evil. But on the other hand, the serpent means wisdom. It means rebirth, right? It means healing. So if you look at Moses, right, when he was in the wilderness, he was instructed by God to hold up the serpent, right? Remember, the Israelites were getting bit up by snakes, and they asked Moses to pray for them. So God instructed him to hold up the bronze serpent on the staff or the pole. And what happened? Anyone who looked at the serpent on that pole was healed. Okay, but you gotta understand, this is symbolic. When you read these ancient texts and these scriptures, you gotta read it with your third eye open. All right, it has a lot of gems. Now, the serpent was symbolic for the sexual energy. All right, so the reason why it was destroying the Israelites, and then on the other hand it was healing them on the pole, was because it represents your sexual energy at its lowest form and at its highest form. All right. Your Kundalini, or your sexual energy at its lowest form, represents what? Lust, temptations, watching the corn, just doing all these things that's destructive in your life. But when you allow that energy to rise up the pole, which is your spine, the staff, which is your spine and skull, pineal gland, once it rises up and hits the pineal gland, now that energy becomes divine. It heals you. It's going to activate all of your chakras and balance them out. Okay? You're going to start get the serpent eyes, which is the eyes of wisdom, the glow. See what I'm saying? The powerful stare. You're going to become reborn again like the phoenix. Rise from the ashes like Christ. You're going to rise from the dead. Okay? You become wise. This is what a spiritual awakening is. So when the Kundalini hits the pineal gland, right, it activates the God energy, the Christ consciousness, or the Christos. the crystalline body, right? The Christ energy, Christ rising from the dead, rising from the lower realms to the highest realm. All this stuff is symbolic. You see what I'm saying? And once you have a Kundalini awakening, it can't go undone. Like, once it happens, it's permanent. You're never going to go back to sleep. Once you put those glasses on, that's it. Once the veil is gone, that's it. You can't go back to sleep. That's the beautiful thing about it. Okay? But on SR, you're going to notice that your energy is going to have no choice but to rise up because it gets too potent. It's too powerful. Now, like I said, some people have mixed feelings about the serpents. You know, the serpent represents the devil to some people, you know, and I would say don't be afraid of anything. Always do your research and go with your own understanding. Okay? Because if it was evil, why would God instruct him to hold up a serpent? You gotta start asking yourself these questions. Even if you look at crystals, right? If these were considered evil, why do they use them all throughout the Bible? Right? For divine purposes. You see, when you start to know who you are, you'll understand why this is so powerful, why your sexual energy is so powerful, and why your Kundalini is able to activate you, right? Because you have crystals inside your body. Up here you have crystals, right? Crystalline, Christ, crystalline, right? Christ consciousness. It's the energy. The energy, if you know anything about crystals, right? Crystals are able to absorb energy or they can output energy. They tell you in the movies, you look at the Avengers, right? With Thanos and the Infinity Stone. You know what I'm saying? You look at the Tesseract, which was the energetic cube that they had, that Loki was trying to take. You know what I'm saying? You look at Sonic with the emeralds. They always tell you in these movies, like, it's always a goal to obtain these crystals, the crystallines, which represents power, which represents higher consciousness, healing, wisdom, the connection to the Most High. Okay? You don't need these. These are inside of you. But see, me wearing this right now is activating the crystals that's already in me. Just like if you wear some gold, right? When you wear gold, it makes you feel confident. But it's really just activating the gold inside of you, which is charging you up, because gold is electric. It conducts electricity. You see? So this is why you got to do research on yourself to know who you are, so you won't be afraid of these things. All right? There's no such thing as good and evil. It's all energy. So you can say, yeah, Kundalini is bad because it's chaotic, but also it can be good if you learn how to harness it. Just like, that's like me saying fire is evil. Yeah, I can use fire to harm and do bad things and destroy, but I also gonna use fire to do good things, to build, right? So it's all about context. All right? Now, when it comes to this journey, you gotta make sure that you are trying to enlighten yourself. All right, when I first awakened my Kundalini, I was in a space where I was looking for higher knowledge. Not just book smart knowledge, I'm talking about knowledge out of this world. Spiritual knowledge, esoteric knowledge. And that activated my Kundalini on itself. That's actually how I found semen retention, was looking for that higher information. Okay, so you'll notice, man, you just have this thirst for knowledge. You have this thirst for self-awareness. You want to know more about yourself on a higher level outside the matrix. Because once you activate this, it's going to unplug you from the matrix. You see, this SR journey is deeper than what y'all think it is. All right? It's very deep, man. It's just that I have to speak about it on a beginner level because there's a lot of folks who still are trying to discipline themselves and they're just now starting off. So I got to start with the basics, right? But as you tap into it, you start to learn more about it in your own journey, your own experience. And you realize it's bigger than what you thought it was. Why do you think everything is over-sexualized? To stop you from tapping in and having that Kundalini being awakened, right? So you splurging all your sexual energy in order for you to be drained out. Or on the other hand, you got some folks that's telling you that sex is bad, your sexual energy is evil, and you need to suppress it. So now you're trying to hold this energy down, and you're not allowing it to come up and do what it needs to do. So you got to find a balance, a middle ground. Your sexual energy isn't bad, but you got to know how to use it righteously. Okay? That's what it comes down to. You know, we're going into, it's almost 2026, man, and being ignorant of knowledge and of self is not acceptable anymore, right? It's not going to be tolerated. You can't still be walking around with fear of knowledge, fear of yourself. All these things are within you. So why would you ever be afraid of yourself? You being afraid of a Kundalini awakening shows that you don't know yourself. And if you still have fear, you need to do more work on yourself. You still got some healing to do. Some people say it's dangerous to unlock it, but trust me, it's not going to happen unless you're ready for it to happen. Trust me, it's not going to happen if you're not ready. Okay? It's going to happen when it's supposed to, on divine timing. You just focus on working on yourself. Okay? I didn't force it to happen. It just did. I was just doing me. I was self-improving. I was gaining knowledge. I was putting the work in, and boom, it clicked. The floodgates opened up, right? And there was nothing I could do. I couldn't go back. But it was the best feeling. It was the best experience that I ever had. And I would never change that for the world. I love who I am now. I love that I'm able to get on here and speak to you guys, man, because before my awakening, I would never have the courage to speak on camera like this, especially about my personal life. Especially when it comes to topics like sexual energy and things like that, man. I wouldn't have the confidence to do this. But see, once you get activated, all your chakras are balanced out. So your throat chakra included opens up. And now you're able to express yourself confidently. What you're feeling, what you're thinking, it comes out eloquently. You know what I'm saying? In a way that people can understand it. So this journey is real. This journey is amazing, and there's many benefits to it. Becoming awakened is one of them. All right, your spiritual body becomes conscious. I think of this like your conscious mind and your subconscious mind, right? Your sexual energy is your conscious mind. Your sexual energy is what you use to get things done throughout the day, right? It's the awareness of the matrix. But your Kundalini will be like the subconscious of your sexual energy or your creative energy. Okay? It can only be unlocked when you allow the sexual energy to relax and become dormant. Just like meditation. When you meditate, you allow your conscious mind to go dormant. You use it as a key to unlock the subconscious. That comes to the front and becomes the new conscious mind. Okay, if that makes sense, guys. You know, I'm just channeling this information right now, so, you know, I'm trying to make sure I don't miss anything. I might have to make a part 2 to this video. But yeah, man, I hope this can answer your question. And I think I'll do another part to this just to clarify some things as well. But yeah, guys, if you have any questions, I do one-on-one consultations, so I'll leave my link in my description. Y'all let me know in the comments section, what was your experience with a Kundalini awakening, man, and how did it happen for you? All right, man, so with that being said, peace, love, and abundance, and I'm out.